Hey, Tom Rabbit! I hope you got this for your recording. Hey, YouTube out there. Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hey, Tom Rabbit! Okay, see, he goes silent. Isn't that amazing how they either just troll or become argumentative or they go dead silent?
Excuse me. I actually did try to say something, but
Go ahead.
if I might politely inquire, what would you take of the perspective of other world cultures and religions?
I
What
don't know how to.
about
I don't know how to answer such a broad and vague question.
no, genuinely, like if you are speaking from the perspective of a Christian perspective, worldview, as you said,
Hmm.
then you could genuinely pick any other faith out there. Whether it's Buddhism, whether you're talking about different sects of the Muslim faith, whether you're discussing some tribalistic religion that we may not even be aware of, maybe practiced by a tribe of 40 people somewhere deep in the jungle.
Can
Each
we
of
get to
them,
the point, please, instead of you doing a mini community college lecture?
each of them with their own worldview, of which any of us have no opportunity to comprehend. But if you could at least empathize with that worldview, do you think that maybe they might say the same thing of yourself, that, maybe their worldview.
Yeah, you're not making any sense.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to understand you, but it sounds more like you're giving me a little lecture from a speech from a paper delivered in 10th grade. Okay,
I'm
is
alright
there
then.
i- is there can you is there a succinct point that you're trying to make?
The point that I'm trying to make is that if you are saying that there's only one worldview, a Christian worldview, do you not think that someone from one of those other faiths would say the same of their own?
Okay.
If you are
Did I
a
say there was did I say there was only one worldview?
you were speaking of how if, somebody is operating from a worldview that is not Christianity, seemed like you were denigrating that worldview. It does not have, equal value. I maybe
Yeah,
I'm
you
mis
don't
maybe I'm
you
mistaken in
yeah
my interpretation.
yeah you quite. Okay, I
Okay,
said the Christian worldview is the only coherent worldview. I didn't say that there weren't other worldviews. I
so
said all other worldviews are based upon open systems, not a closed system. Okay,
so what defines coherency in that in to you?
what conforms to the mind of God and how He reveals it? Whatever does not conform to the mind of God is not coherent,
How do you know the mind of God or what he would find coherent?
because He has revealed His mind in and through the Christian scriptures.
Where okay, so through the scriptures, through the Bible, or, other.
Are you an atheist or a theist?
I am I think I would regard myself an atheist, but I am willing to question. I'm willing to engage in these conversations because I am genuinely curious.
Oh, that's good. How old are you?
30,
Okay. You sound young.
I know. Part of being a
Hmm.
woman on the internet.
Hmm. Okay. So how is it that there is no God from your point of view?
I cannot justify to myself the existence of a God when there are so many other world faiths and belief systems
No,
that would that would be
that's
that
that's
are that
incorrect.
are that are dismissed and put aside just as you
No,
dismissed me
that's
because
incorrect. Yeah, I'm going to
incorrect.
stop
All
you
right.
right there. I'm going to stop you right there. Okay, I'll be short and sweet. I'm not trying to be rude, nor am I trying to lord anything out over you. There's only two worldviews. There's the God worldview and the not God worldview. Either you hold to the creator creature distinction or not. Okay? It's called the law of excluded middle. Something is either A or not A. Either you hold that there's an eternal creator that has established this world and it's running according to his plan or not. Okay? So we have two worldviews. Now, in the not God worldview, we have different flavors, but they all come under the worldview of the not God worldview. Now, in the God worldview, we only have only one God worldview that is coherent. All the rest of the putative God worldviews are just simply pretenders. They do not have the attributes or the properties required for human intelligibility. Okay?
So a polytheistic faith in which multiple gods might have had a hand in creation,
No,
that is irrelevant?
no, that would be fallacious because um, you um, couldn't have two or more entities that are eternal, okay, and be creator.
Why not?
Okay, why? Because it wouldn't be. In order to be creator, you have to be ultimate, and in order to be ultimate, you must be exclusively and singularly the ground of all being. If there are two more entities that are eternal, then each would exist independently of each other, and neither one of them could be ultimate. Okay,
Well, it's not necessarily to say that gods have to be ultimate. They could have their
then
specialities, the
then
same as
then
any of
then if
us do.
then if, then if they're not ultimate, okay, then you aren't going to have a coherent worldview. Now, what I find interesting is simply this: is what you're now doing is what I and others have called worldview body doubles. You're proposing worldviews that you categorically reject. And you're only doing so in order to avoid the exclusivity of the Christian worldview's claim for itself. Okay?
I find that to be a little
You're an
dogmatic.
you're well, your atheism is dogmatic. Your position is there is no God. So I'll ask you again, how is it that there is no God? I didn't get a clear answer to that.
I do not think that there can be a God because I think that God is defined by people, whether that is one person locked in a room for the entirety of their life, creating for themselves some concept of a higher
Mhm.
deity, or
That's a
whether that
fallacy.
is an entire culture. You know,
No, that's a
the sky.
fallacy. Whether or not people use faulty reasoning to come to God, it doesn't follow from that God doesn't exist. Okay?
But
Kai
I
Nielsen Kai Nielsen wrote the Encyclopedia Britannica entry for atheism. He's an atheist philosopher and author. He stated the reasons for God may fail, but it still may be the case that God exists. The fact that you believe that some people have used faulty thinking and have concluded therefore God, it doesn't follow because of their faulty reasoning that God doesn't exist. So I'll ask you again, how is it that God doesn't exist?
I think that that is a very, very good question. However, I think that people have interpreted, if there is a God, his message or her message or their message, however many there may be,
What was
in
my last question to you?
you were asking whether there could be a God or not.
No, I said, how is it that there is not a God? You're an
Is
atheist, right?
It's a very, very broad question.
No, it's actually very simple. Either you believe that what is fundamental, the ground of all being, ultimate, the source of all possibility, is a mind or not. It's a very simple question.
I do not think that there could be something on high that has designed us, that has designed anything around me.
Good.
I
Then you have no reason to believe anything then, because then there will be nothing identifiable that is and defensible that dictates what is, can be, and cannot be. So therefore, since you do not believe in God as creator and that he's revealed himself, then you won't have a metaphysical foundation to believe that anything is the case.
I disagree with that.
Good. Then what is it then that is ultimate, that institutes and secures what is, can be, and cannot be for the set of all real things?
Can you
And please don't
ask
and please don't say
my
reality, because that's a throwaway answer. What dictates everything that is, can be, and cannot be?
we are the people that dictate the things around us. I
All right,
believe
you're not understanding the question. Okay, my human mind and your human mind and collective human minds do not dictate that there is an asteroid orbiting a planet somewhere in a galaxy far, far away. I want to know what it is that is foundational, why anything exists at all, and is there something that is ultimate that dictates what is, can be, and cannot be for all members of the set of all real things? Is there such a thing that does that or not?
I do not think that there's something that does that.
Good. Therefore, you're now in a position where you can't make any assertions of any kind.
Now, if you would allow me to actually make some assertions instead of asking questions, allowing me to
Did you hear
have a
what was
moment
my
to explain.
what was my last statement to you?
Your last statement was that I can make no assertions, but I can make
That's right.
assertions.
No, you can make assertions, but they would be vacuous because there would be nothing metaphysically undergirding them.
So you won't even
There
allow
would
me to
there
explain
there
my
there there
perspective.
Okay, anything you assert, I'm going to ask you what is its worldview context, and you're going to end up going, I don't know.
You don't know that, sir.
I do know that because if you don't
You do
appeal
not.
to, I will tell you how.
You have not
I
even
will
allowed
tell
me
you.
to.
I will tell you how I know it. Would you like to know how I know it? It's
Go
very
ahead.
simple. Either you're going to believe that there is a creator God who is eternal and ultimate himself, a mind who has instituted and secured this creation and it's operating according to his plan. And we know of his existence because he's taken the initiative to reveal himself in creation and through human history recorded in the Christian scriptures. If you reject that, then there won't be anything fundamental, foundational, or ultimate dictating what is, can be, and cannot be for each member of the set of all real things. So there would not be any foundational reason why anything is. Is there a foundational reasoning why anything is, can be, or cannot be?
Hold on. I want to address your statement in that
I'm
before
going
the
to repeat
question.
my question until you answer it.
I am going to address
No, you're
because
going to
this
answer the question that I just posed to you. Is there something that is foundational in existence? Okay. That
sir,
is
the
the
way that you are
source of all
asking
things.
these
Listen to me. I asked you a legitimate question. Now, if you're simply going to be argumentative and evasive, then the conversation will be over.
Oh, this
Now,
bitch.
I asked you a simple question. Okay. Now, since you don't believe in God as creator and that it is God who institutes and secures everything that is, can be, and cannot be according to his plan, is there something at all that dictates why anything is what it is and cannot be what it cannot be?
sir,
Okay, that's the second time I've asked the question. If you refuse to answer it, then the conversation will be over.
all right. I think that the way that you debate is dishonest.
Okay, there's no dishonesty here. I asked you a straightforward question. Do you have an answer to the question or not? It's the last time I'll ask.
You ask questions that sound more like an interrogation than a
Okay,
conversation.
it's not an interrogation, and so now what you're attempting to do is rather than answer the legitimate question that is germane to the topic of either God or not God, you're attempting to gaslight by personally trying to smear and malign me rather than answer the question. Okay?
I am not trying to smear or malign you. I am telling you what I
Yes you
feel.
are. Are you going to answer the question or not?
I am not gonna answer that question.
Okay, have a nice day. Because since you can't answer the question, then any other assertion that would come out of your mouth will simply be ultimately arbitrary. And if it's ultimately arbitrary, then it will be irrational. And including your evaluations of how I ought to think and how I ought to behave. Those two would be arbitrary in your world because there's nothing
I
ultimate that you're. We're done. We're done, ma'am. You decided
I have
you
not dictated, sir, how I think you should be interacting. I have simply said what I have
Yes,
felt.
you did. Yeah, you did. You did so
What I
sideways.
feel
You were side loading. Now, you're suggesting that I'm acting in some unbecoming way. You are saying in an indirect manner how I ought to be conducting myself. So stop being deceptive. Okay? Now, either you have in mind that there's something that dictates what is, can be, and cannot be for each member of the set of all real things, or you don't. If you don't, then any other declarations that you make thereafter will simply be arbitrary. There won't be any fundamental or metaphysical reason why anything is. Okay, so I'm not going to waste my time with somebody who's going to be arbitrary. Okay,
I'm not gonna
that's it.
waste my time with somebody that isn't going to be a
Have a
reciprocal
nice
conversationist.
okay, yeah, that's just as empty rhetoric, okay? And listen, I've been on the internet now debating atheists for 10 years. I'm very well accustomed to people attempting to gaslight me.
I think she left.
Yeah, well that's what they do. When they get cornered by their own words, okay? Then they don't answer the question and then they try to gaslight or obfuscate or prevaricate, which is what she was doing because she knew she didn't have an answer. It's either we acknowledge God is by virtue of him revealing himself, or we're left in a world where nothing means anything. And because she got cornered, she realized she didn't want to admit that her worldview was incoherent and rather turn to Jesus Christ as the Lord of creation and find rationality, coherence, and ultimately salvation. She decided she wanted to gaslight and make me the bad guy. Yeah, well, you better get some new shtick. Anyway, I'm off to dinner.
Hello, everybody.
I feel like he's evil.
He's
He is.
something,
He is
alright.
evil.
I'm
Also,
like a psychology teacher or sociology or some crazy shit, and he's just doing this as a big troll. I don't know what else.
Feels like my middle school math teacher and my middle school PE teacher at the same time.
There's no way he's this ignorant, right?
no, he is. He's been doing this for years.
Oh my god, yeah.
Science.
He
his
muted me
foundation-
because I had a valid argument.
By the way, did you get that Tom Rabbit?